Oh, okay.
Like, I will find something where...
I think everybody in the room pretty much know who I am, but for those who don't, I am Mitchell Ward. I am the chairman for the Diversity Committee, and I want to say welcome to our Pride Extravaganza. During the month of June, the Department of Defense recognizes lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender service members and civilians for their dedicated service to both the DoD mission as well as our nation. Pride Month is an occasion that brings the LGBT community together with their family, friends, and allies to take pride in themselves and their many achievements. Throughout history, brave lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, and Coast Guardsmen have served and fought for our nation. Their readiness and willingness to serve have made our military stronger and our nation much safer. We continue to take part and take great pride in all that these men and women contribute to the DoD and our mission. Their hard work, courage, and sacrifice make them respected members of our diverse DoD family. Without further ado, I want to introduce H1 Garnes, who's going to read our all admin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Our AllNav covers 1 June through 30 June for LGBT Month, Pride Month. In recognition of June as LGBT Pride Month, the DON celebrates changes that advance a culture of inclusion for all DON employees. In April of 2014, the DoD reissued its Human Goals Charter to specifically include the sexual preference of military personnel, thereby aligning the values of diversity and inclusion. As the Charter states, we gain a strategic advantage through the diversity of our total force and create a culture of inclusion where individuals are drawn to serve, are valued, and actively contribute to the overall mission success. And since 2014, an executive order was signed to protect federal employees from discrimination based on their gender identity. This was followed in September 2014 by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's filing of 2 historic lawsuits concerning discrimination against transgender people. For the first time, the protections of Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 were applied by EEOC to challenge discrimination based upon gender identity. These actions are the result of committed leaders both within the LGBT community and throughout the government. Thank you.
Next time I want to introduce Adrian 32 Paz as well as Adrian 2 Reyes. They're going to be hosting our presentation this afternoon, which was created by H.N. Carter and H.N. Bunn, who weren't able to be with us due to a volunteer event. So at this time, we can give them a hand as they get ready for our presentation.
Hey everyone, I'm H.M. 32 Paz. Like H1 said, this was created by H.N. Carter McGurk and H.N. Bunn. So pride to the LGBTQ community is a sense of dignity and satisfaction in connection with the public acknowledgement of one's own sexuality. And this is a quote by Senator Tammy Baldwin. All of us who are openly gay are living and writing the history of our movement. We are no more and no less heroic than the suffragists and abolitionists of the 19th century and the labor organizers, freedom riders, Stonewall demonstrators, and environmentalists of the 20th century. We are ordinary people living our lives and trying, as civil rights activist Dorothy Cotton said, to fix what ain't right in our society. Here's some history about the LGBTQ community. In 1967, Craig Rodwell founded Oscar Wilde Bookshop, devoted to gay and lesbian authors. New York City was the birthplace of Pride in 1970, which was a year after the Stonewall riots started. And then after the Stonewall, a year after is when they first started the Pride March, which covered 51 blocks to Central Park. Marsha P. Jones was an outspoken advocate for the transgender who spearheaded the Stonewall riot. And then we have some highly notable drag queens as well as transgenders. And then here are some more highly notable people in the history of the LGBTQ community. Some history in the military of the LGBTQ community. Fannie Mae Clackham was the first to challenge her grounds of discharge for her sexuality in the military. Tech Sergeant Leonard Matlovich was a Vietnam War hero who outed himself as gay in the military. He said, "When I was in the military, I was given a medal for killing 2 men and discharged for loving 1. Staff Sergeant Patricia King was the first to come out as transgender with 15 years of service. General Randy Taylor is currently the highest-ranking gay soldier in the military. He introduced his husband at the Pentagon's 4th Pride event. And Brent Jones was the first Navy SEAL to come out as openly gay. November 30th, 1993 is when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was signed into law by President Clinton. December 22nd of 2010, President Obama repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. June 26, 2013, the U.S. Supreme Court strikes down a portion of the Defense of Marriage Act. July 28, 2015, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter issues directive stating no person shall be discharged solely on gender identity. And June 30th, 2016, Secretary of Defense removed the ban on transgender serving in the armed forces. And that is all for the PowerPoint. And we have a video that Agent Button and Agent Carter McGurk also created, interviewing a few of the LGBTQ members of our command.
The Navy has helped me understand more of a diverse community. The Navy is made up of a lot of different people from many different walks of life, communities, and cultures. And it helped me understand those other groups and how they were brought up within the LGBT community, and helped me understand how difficult it was coming out while in the military.
So, the Navy really hasn't played much of a big role in how I've been shaped as being a member of my community. For the most part, I just had to find a way on how I could probably survive while being in the Navy. And it was tough, you know, making a lot of life choices, adjusting on how you behave, talk, see people, trying to see who you can interact with or interact with. It definitely took a lot of patience, a lot of courage in my own. But for the most part, I just did it all by myself. I just had to make sure I came through it my own.
Well, the Navy really hasn't shaped me. When I first came in, I decided that why am I going to hide it? So I've never hid it from anyone. I've been lucky enough, compared to other people, that I haven't dealt with any hatred or any other, I call it like, where someone treats you differently. I have encountered other people who aren't too fond of the idea, but those are like few in between. And I'm not really worried about them. But when you go into the Navy now, you'll realize there's people from other different cultures that will do stuff differently. And you're just gonna have to deal with it. Don't judge people by what they do. Like, as long as they do their work, that's all that matters.
The Navy has helped shape me into not just a stronger individual for the LGBTQ community, but a more confident person. When I first joined the Navy, I was that insecure, awkward boy honestly, when I first came into the Navy, I already had a grasp of who I was, and my entire lifestyle. I went through it at a decent age, so I pretty much knew who I was. But coming into the Navy, I found more of the community. Not just in Virginia, but in Texas and all the other places that I've been to. I've got to see the community, and it's helped broaden my aspect of, it's not just me, or it's not just, a certain type of, LGBTQ individual. It's a broader aspect. It's so many different variations. There's so many different types of people in the world, not just gay or straight or, transgender, whatever. Everybody has their own unique personality, and it's really made me see, not everybody's the same, and I need to treat people, as I would want to be treated.
I feel like when it comes to being a member of the LGBT community, I feel like I was already shaped before I joined the Navy. Like, my first day at boot camp, when we was telling each other about myself, I automatically said I was gay, because I've always been comfortable with myself. I came out 16, and I was like the captain of the cheerleading team, so I've always just been really comfortable about myself. So when I got to the Navy, I was just the same, like already comfortable with myself. So it didn't really shape me or help me.
Were you nervous about being openly gay in the military?
No, because like I said, I came out at 16, so I've been only gay like all of my life. So.
Yes and no. Yes, because there are still a lot of the older generations that are in the military, and so that stipulation of before don't ask, don't tell was repealed, being scared of retribution from those older generations.
Yeah, definitely. I was scared to death. Like I said, being raised in South Georgia, this stigma with being gay, yeah. And then the idea of the military, like, all these macho men join the military, and it's a manly thing, and you have to be strong and tough, and there's no spot for soft people. And then I remember growing up hearing about, like, don't ask, don't tell. And so, yeah, I was scared to death.
When I came in at first, I really was. I didn't know how I was supposed to act around other people, or how they would perceive me as being a gay person in the military. So, yeah, I was definitely actually kind of scared a little bit.
So have you ever felt like you've been discriminated against while you were in there? Yes and no. Not directly, but I've noticed some people have been a little more hesitant to work with me or to interact with me just because of me being gay. But as for there being some kind of dramatic, oh, he's gay, don't touch me, don't come near me, or anything like that, I haven't had that happen exactly. But you pick up on social cues. You pick up on how certain people respond to you in certain situations. service members who are coming into the military who are afraid to come out?
It's scary. It's hard. It's you pretty much just have to accept that it's who you are. It's not just who you are, but it's part of who you are. And don't let it ever interfere with anything you want to do. There's nothing wrong with being gay, lesbian, transgender, no, nothing. Live your truth pretty much. If it makes you happy, then do it. And coming into the military is a place for people from all over the world. For a place, it's a melting pot, more or less. So that little fraction of you being gay is nothing compared to the mass amounts of different people that join the military. So, yeah, I wouldn't let it stop you.
What would you say to other service members coming into the military who are afraid to come out?
I would say coming out is a time to where like you have to be ready for it. Like you can't come out for somebody else. You have to come out for you. Don't come out to make somebody else happy. Come out for you because you're not gonna be happy unless you do it on your time.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
As the Navy is right now, I think it would be a great opportunity for every single one of them to come in. Just be yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. We definitely have moved past the way the Navy used to be back in the day. We've definitely moved a lot longer past that. And it's actually not bad. It's actually a lot of fun in the Navy now. They're actually even having a lot of programs supporting our community. It's actually fun. You know, it used to be tough. We all know about that. But the world is changing. The Navy is changing every day. And we all just gotta try and accept to see what they're trying to do for us and move forward with it.
Thank you for your time, Consulting. I would say this is your time. You know, everything you do is in your own time. Everything that you do in the Navy is what you make of it. Be cautious, for sure. Be cautious, but be open because you will find some of the most amazing people in the Navy. You know, sometimes you find some terrible people, of course, but there are terrible people everywhere. But you will find some of the most amazing people in the Navy, especially in our community, and they will give to you so much because, you know, the Navy is truly a family full of strangers. Like, you will meet people you have never, ever thought you were going to meet. And, you know, you guys will become family. And it's crazy because you're like, they're all strangers to me. Everybody you meet in the Navy is a stranger. You know, no one is who you knew. You might meet some people from your hometown, but you probably will never know them. But this gives you an opportunity to branch out, to meet new people, to do exciting things, and to take chances that you never would take when you were at home. So do all those things. Be open about who you are. Be positive about your situation. Everybody is going to go through something at some point in their life, and just know that you aren't going through this alone. We've all been there. I've been there. You've been there. Everybody at some point has been there. So reach out. Talk to us.
Well, thank you so much, Agent Carter.
Thank you.
That is all the questions we have for today. Now back to you all.
Our last question is, what would you say to other service members coming into the military who are afraid about coming out on their own?
Everyone gets to choose their own time to come out. Usually it's when you feel most comfortable. And having a tight-knit family, like here at my command, made me more comfortable about being able to come out and be who I really am.
Thank you for your time, Agent.
And who do you think will win this season of RuPaul's Drag Race?
Never mind.
Aquaria, thank you.
I didn't hear.
They will win this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. Also, want to say thank you to all the sailors that were in the video, who had the courage to let us know, their perspective as being a service member and part of the DoD family and identifying with the LGBT community. And at this time, all those were service members. They were all active duty Navy. But I want to introduce one of our contractors who I met the other day. She works up in Pros, and I want to introduce to all you all Miss McKim, Miss Tomorrow McKim. She's going to tell her story. She's going to tell a brief part of her story as well as her experience as being a DoD family member as well.
Hi guys. Hi. Well, thank you for the introduction. He gave me a great, awesome introduction. I do work upstairs in the pros department. I see my dog over there. Oh gosh, do I have a story to tell? I have been a DoD contractor since like 2008. And I started in Okinawa. And, shout out, Okinawa. Yeah, I had an amazing time there. Great, went from Okinawa, and then I came back here, North Carolina. I was in Camp Lejeune, Cherry Point, New River, and then finally landed at, Cherry Point was the last place before coming up here. I, even as a kid, felt different. I felt like, just different. I can remember when I was like 11 years old, and at 11, my parents had these other couple who were friends of ours, and they would we would spend time at their house. They would go over our house, and the little girl, we were like a couple years apart. Like she was like 8, I was like 11, and we had the same birthday. And I remember going, she would spend birthdays at my house, spend birthdays at her house. I actually started, like, oh, she's cute. Like, it was like more than a friend. Like, I really, I liked her. I was like, oh. But I didn't understand what those feelings were. I felt like I was different. I felt like that wasn't right, for me to feel that way. I didn't say anything to anybody. Years and years, I was guys, boys, everybody around me were straight, and that wasn't something that was talked about. I'm probably older than a lot of y'all in here. We won't mention how old. Okay. Anyway, it was something that wasn't talked about, so, okay. Okay, so, that wasn't talked about. I didn't really talk about it. So I was dating guys, and, I was fine with that, obviously. And, but there still was something missing, and I know that was a part of me, but I didn't understand it. And then years go by, my early 20s, then I met another female, and me and this female, we started out as friends. And then eventually there was an attraction, and again, all of my friends were straight, and I had a hard time with that because I was like, dang, there's something wrong with me, or, but if I say anything, I'm going to lose my friends. They're not going to understand. So I didn't say anything. And matter of fact, I told her, because, it was a mutual, but I told her, I was like, can you not come around me? Matter of fact, because my friends, they're starting to think something. So can you just act like you don't really know me? Yeah, I did. And I was like, don't come around here. Don't, and we were both in the healthcare field, and she actually, there were several buildings in California, Balboa Hospital. I worked there, but we worked in a different building. She was in the Navy, and I was a contractor then. And I was just like, I didn't, I wasn't ready. I was scared, and I wasn't ready to come out. I was scared, and I didn't. So I was just like, don't come around me. And she was very out. And she was like, I don't understand. Why are you, why don't you just be honest? And I was like, no, don't come around here because my friends are starting to think something, And she showed up at my best friend's house. And that's why I went outside and I was like, look, don't come around here. Don't, please. If you see me, just act like you don't know me. Like, I was on that. Like, don't say anything. So it wasn't until I met my ex-wife, my ex-wife, who's currently in the Navy, that I even felt comfortable I was starting to come out, but I was so scared. I lived the straight life. I, did everything that I thought that people expected me. I was that person that I thought people expected me to be. And, that's a miserable life. You get tired. I was just tired of living that way and living a lie, really. And I set my dad down. And after I met her, I set my dad down, and that was the hardest. That was the hardest thing to do, is talk to this man who raised me, because my mother had died of lung cancer a year prior to that. So I never even told her. She died, and I didn't even get to tell her, who I truly was or how I truly felt about myself. And I set my dad down, and that was hard. I was just like, Dad, I have something that I want to talk to you about. And he was like, well, just, what's going on? Tell me. It took me, deep breath. I was shaking, knees shaking. It was hard. And I just took a deep breath, and I kind of mumbled it at first. I was just like, well, and I said, well, my friend who comes around, more than friends. And he said, what? He said, say it again. He said, look at me. And I said, well, we're more than friends. He said, tomorrow, now come on, just say it. Take a deep breath and just say it. Just tell me. And I said, we're more than friends. And you know what he said? I know. He knew it. And tears rolling down my face. I was like, They know. How did you know? He's like, I have raised you. I know your mannerisms. I know we had crush on boys. I know when you're different, because I guess he said I acted different around her. I thought I was hiding it very well. I thought, but he was like, I could see the way you hugged her. The hug was a little longer, and and then you tried to pull away when you thought I was looking, I was. He said what it was is I wanted to wait until you were comfortable in your own skin. And I knew that when you were comfortable with it, that you would come out and tell me. And I tell you what, that was like a ton of bricks lifted off my shoulders, because I didn't think that, and that's the reason why I didn't tell my parents before, that's the reason why I didn't come out before. I didn't want to lose my friends, and I didn't want to be alone. And at that time, I just felt like that's what it was going to be. I was going to be alone. And my dad was everything. I didn't want them to not love me anymore. And that's what I felt. I felt like they weren't going to love me anymore. And he was just like, I love you unconditionally. I don't care you were tomorrow yesterday, and you're tomorrow today, and you'll be tomorrow. You're the same crazy kid that you ever were. You my baby, and I love you. So, love is love. You love who you want to love, and it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna love you. You my daughter. I might not always like your choices, but I'm always gonna love you, the person that you are. So, And I've been, pretty much out ever since. I think when I got divorced from my ex-wife, that I kind of slid back and kind of took a step back for me, it seemed like, because everybody that I am around, and even now, are pretty much straight. And the people that I hang with, I know you looking like, what? No. But the people that I'm around are pretty much straight. So, and people are very judgmental. I'm not afraid to be who I am, because I live my life out loud, always. But I hate, when people judge you before they even get a chance to get to know you. So, if anything, take from this, don't be afraid to be who you are, whether you're in the military, but this is my life as a contractor and have experience out, in, and now I'm just going to be out, and I'm going to be proud of who I am, because who I am is a beautiful person, and I love myself, and if anybody want to talk to me, you can holler at me. I'm in the pros department. Love more, hate less. Autograph, sign anything y'all want me to.
I certainly want to thank everybody from, especially from our leadership, Commander Lewis, Commander Frognet, ISCL, Commander Captain Select Alova, all of our leadership here in BHC Norfolk Triad, to all of those who participate in the Diversity Committee. Thank you so much. We definitely want to get to our cake and our cupcakes and ice cream. But before we do, I want to open the floor to our OIC, Commander Lewis, if he will have final remarks.
I have to apologize for Commander Lewis. He had another engagement that he had to get to. So I just wanted to say a few words about this celebration and, again, reiterate HM1's thank yous for the committee that put this whole thing together. I've been in the Navy for 22 years. I enlisted when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was the policy. And to see where our relations with the LGBTQ community have come since the late 90s to today is absolutely amazing. My best friend when I was in the Navy in 2001, and my roommate, he was the will to my grace, all right? We were roommates and we were best friends, and I had to watch him navigate the difficulties of living a secret lifestyle. Because being openly gay was not authorized, and had the Navy found out, he would have been kicked out of the Navy. And, he was married. He had a husband, but his husband couldn't be his husband because it was illegal. And anytime that there was a function, that was his brother. And it's not easy having to live a secret life. And the Navy's decision to change that and not care about what people do in their bedrooms. To quote Secretary of Defense Mattis, when questioned about having transgenders openly serve in the military, he told Congress, "I don't care what people do in their bedrooms. That's not what it's about being a war fighter. It's about putting guns down range." And that's where the Navy stands today. So thank you for celebrating this diversity and this part of what makes us a great fighting force, because without the folks that were in the video and our contractor and civilian brothers and sisters, we wouldn't be the fighting force that we are today. So thanks again, and I appreciate all the hard work. And I am so excited about rainbow cupcakes. I've been emojiing the crap out of this for the last 24 hours, so I want some rainbow cupcakes. So thanks again, everybody.
So over here to my left, your right, we have cupcakes. The ice cream is right behind you, so if y'all can let him in, please feel free to serve yourselves. There's also drinks back there. Again, thank you all for coming out, and would solicit your help with future diversity events. Again, our events aren't as good as they are without you all. So I ask that you come out, come to the meetings. We meet every Wednesday at 1200 here in Dental in our Perrier conference room. So please come out, help us plan, and we're family. All right? Cupcakes and ice cream.
All right, with that, I'm out.
Who made the cupcakes?
You made it or she made it?